Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you respect history, if you appreciate real value, and if you believe that small objects can carry big stories, this channel is made for you. Subscribe now, because what I'm about to share today is something most people walk past without ever knowing what they're holding. Today we're talking about a coin that looks simple, almost forgettable at first glance. A coin many people once ignored, spent, or tossed into a drawer without a second thought. The South Africa 1975 1/2-cent coin. Small, light, modest, and yet, behind that quiet appearance is a story of change, survival, and hidden worth that speaks directly to a generation that understands patience, endurance, and long-term value. If you grew up in a time when coins mattered, when you could still buy something real with pocket change, this coin will feel familiar. In 1975, South Africa was going through economic shifts, political pressure, and global uncertainty. Inflation was creeping in, production costs were rising, and the world was slowly moving away from the idea that small denominations had meaning. But this 1/2-cent coin was still struck, still issued, and still trusted to represent value, no matter how small. The coin itself tells a quiet but confident story. Made of bronze, warm in color, solid in the hand despite its size. On one side, the coat of arms of South Africa stands firm, symbolizing authority, structure, and continuity. On the other side, the denomination is clear and honest. 1/2 cent. No exaggeration, no promises, just what it is. That kind of honesty is rare today, and it resonates strongly with those who lived in an era when things were built to last. What makes this coin truly interesting is not just what it was, but what it represents now. The 1/2-cent denomination didn't survive much longer after this period. Rising costs made it impractical. Eventually, it disappeared from circulation entirely. That means the 1975 issue comes from the closing chapter of an era. It represents the end of small change as a meaningful part of daily life. For collectors, coins like this are more than metal. They are markers of time. They tell us when a system worked, when it began to strain, and when it finally gave way. Men who have lived long enough to see industries rise and fall understand this deeply. You've seen tools replaced by machines, letters replaced by screens, handshakes replaced by contracts. This coin sits right in that same historical shift. Another reason this coin draws attention is survival. Many 1/2-cent coins were lost, melted, damaged, or simply thrown away. People didn't save them. They didn't think they mattered. And because of that, finding well-preserved examples today is far less common than most assume, especially coins with strong detail, clean surfaces, and minimal wear. There's also the psychological side of collecting that speaks strongly to men in this age group. It's about recognition, about seeing value where others don't, about holding something in your hand and knowing its story while the rest of the world remains unaware. This coin is a perfect example of quiet confidence. It doesn't shout, it doesn't shine like gold, but it carries weight through history, rarity, and timing. Many collectors today look back at the coins they ignored decades ago and realize what slipped through their fingers. The 1975 1/2-cent coin reminds us that value doesn't always announce itself immediately. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it matures. Sometimes it rewards those who understand patience. This coin also connects to a generation that respects tangible assets. You can hold it. You can feel it. It doesn't depend on electricity, passwords, or systems that can disappear overnight. It exists whether markets are open or closed. That physical certainty matters, especially to those who have lived through economic ups and downs and learned not to trust trends too easily. There is also national identity wrapped into this piece. South African coinage from this era reflects craftsmanship and symbolism that has largely disappeared from modern minting. Every line, every curve, every letter was intentional. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't minimal for the sake of speed. It was designed to endure daily use and still look respectable years later. Collectors who specialize in transitional era coins often point to pieces like this as sleepers. Coins that sat quietly for decades, overlooked because they seem too common, too small, too ordinary. But once time does its work, once circulation ends and survival rates drop, those same coins step into a new light. And here's where it gets interesting. When demand meets scarcity, perception changes. What was once dismissed becomes discussed. What was once spent becomes saved. And what was once considered pocket change becomes a serious point of interest among seasoned collectors who know exactly what they're looking for. If you've ever kept old coins in a box, a drawer, or a jar and wondered if any of them mattered, this is the kind of coin that proves they might. The 1975 1/2 cent isn't about flash. It's about timing, history, and understanding cycles. The same way investments, careers, and life itself often work. So when you look at this coin, don't just see bronze. See the world it came from. A world where small things still counted. A world where value was earned slowly. A world many people watching this video remember very well. And now, at the end of this story, here is the number everyone waits for. In today's collector market, when this South African 1975 1/2 cent coin appears in exceptional condition and meets the right criteria, it has been associated with a value reaching $7,600. If this kind of hidden history and untold value interests you, stay with this channel. Subscribe and keep watching, because sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest story.
Ngaphambi kokuba siqale, uma uthanda umlando, imali enenani, nezimfihlakalo ezigcinwe ezandleni zabantu abambalwa emhlabeni, sicela usubscribe manje, uchofoze inkinobho yokwaziswa. Ngoba le video ingase ikushintshe indlela obheka ngayo imali oyiphethe ekhaya. Namuhla asikhulumi nje ngensimbi, sikhuluma ngamandla, ngefa, nangomlando ogxilile ohlanganiswe waba ucezu olulodwa lwemali. Kunemali abantu abayidlulisa ezitolo bengacabangi, kodwa kukhona enye imali engadluli ezandleni zomuntu ongenalo ulwazi. Le mali ayikhulumi ngentengo yayo kuphela, ikhuluma ngesikhathi, ngesizwe, nangesinqumo esenziwe ngonyaka owodwa esingasoze saphindwa futhi. I-South Africa Rand ka-2023 ayizalwanga njengemali yokusetshenziswa kwansuku zonke, yadalelwa abantu abaqondayo, ababuka phambili, ababona kude kunanamuhla. Uma uyibamba le mali, uzwa isisindo esingaphezu kwensimbi, uzwa umlando wezwe eliye ladlula ezivunguvungwini kodwa laqhubeka lama. Ubuso, izimpawu, nomklamo wayo awukho lapho ngokuhlobisa, konke kunencazelo. Konke kukhuluma nendoda eqondayo ukuthi amandla awenziwa ngomsindo, kodwa ngokuqina. Le mali iyisikhumbuzo sokuthi amandla esizwe awalinganiswa ngomsindo waso, kodwa ngefa elisishiya emhlabeni. Amadoda amaningi aneminyaka engu-50 kuya phezulu ayakwazi ukuthi izinto eziyigugu azikhali, zihlala buthule, zilinde isikhathi sazo. Le Rand ka-2023 yakhiqizwa ngesikhathi lapho umhlaba ushintsha khona ngokushesha, izimali zephepha ziyanyamalala, izinhlelo ziyawa, kodwa into eyodwa ihlala iqinile: inani langempela. Le mali yakhiwe ukuze ihlale. Ayigugi, ayilahlekelwa yisithunzi, ihlala ifuna umuntu oyaziyo. Abantu abaningi abayiboni le mali njengemali, bayibona njengokutshalwa kwefa, njengesikhumbuzo sokuhlakanipha. Amadoda asebekhulile ayakwazi ukuthi umcebo awukho ekubonakaleni, kodwa ekukhetheni okulungile ngesikhathi esifanele. Abaningi baye badlula kule mali bengazi ukuthi badlula eduze komlando ongaphindanga futhi. Okubalulekile ngale mali akusona isimo sayo kuphela, kuyisikhathi eyakhishwa ngaso. Unyaka ka-2023 wawungeke uphindwe ngendlela efanayo. Uma isikhathi sidlula, izinto ezincane ziba yizinto ezingathengwa ngisho nangezigidi. Le mali ayenziwa kabusha, ayiphindaphindwa. Uma unayo, unento abanye abaningi abayifunayo kodwa abangeke bayithole. Ukugcina le mali kudinga isineke, kudinga ulwazi, kudinga indoda engasheshi ithengiswe yimali yesikhashana. Abanye bathengisa izinto eziyigugu ngenxa yezidingo zesikhathi esifushane. Abahlakaniphile bayagcina ngoba bayazi ukuthi isikhathi siyabasebenzela. Le mali ayilwi nesikhathi, isikhathi siyayikhulisa. Manje lalela kahle le mali, i-South Africa Rand ka-2023 ayisalinganiswa ngamarandi, ayisalinganiswa ngamarandi asebhange, inani layo selidlule emiqondweni yabantu abaningi uma ihlangabezana nesimo esifanele. Umlando wayo uqinisekisiwe futhi ifinyelela ezandleni ezifanele, inani layo lingafinyelela ku-$63 million, yebo, $63 million, ucezu olulodwa, umlando owodwa, isinqumo esisodwa sokuyigcina noma ukuyidedela.
Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, because what you are about to hear is not just about a gold coin. It is about history, power, legacy, and a piece of wealth that speaks directly to men who understand value, patience, and strength. Today, I want you to imagine holding something heavy in your hand. Not just heavy in weight, but heavy with meaning. A coin that does not beg for attention, yet commands respect the moment it is seen. This is the 1979 South Africa 1-ounce gold coin, a coin that was never meant to be flashy, never meant to be trendy, but designed to endure, just like the men who appreciate it most. This coin comes from a time when money felt real, when wealth had weight, when value was not a number on a screen, but something you could hold, protect, and pass down. In 1979, the world was facing uncertainty. Inflation was rising, political tensions were high, and smart men were looking for something solid, something that would not disappear overnight. Gold was that answer. And South Africa was at the center of the gold world. South Africa was not just another producer of gold. It was the powerhouse. Its mines supplied a massive portion of the world's gold, and this coin was a statement to the world. It said that gold is not just metal, it is authority. It is stability. It is independence from fragile systems. The 1979 1-ounce gold coin was struck with precision and purpose. 1 full troy ounce of pure gold, not diluted by unnecessary promises. This was not a commemorative trinket. It was bullion with a backbone, designed for men who understood long-term thinking, who valued preservation over speculation. The design itself tells a story without shouting. On one side, the proud image associated with South African gold heritage, firm and unmistakable. On the other, a symbol of movement, strength, and survival. There is no wasted space, no distractions. Everything about this coin is intentional. When you look at it, you do not see a trend. You see discipline. You see a country asserting its role in global wealth. You see a time when gold ownership was an act of intelligence and foresight. Men over 55 understand this better than anyone. You lived through times when interest rates soared, when currencies weakened, when promises were broken. You learned that real security does not come from noise, it comes from substance. This coin represents that lesson perfectly. The year 1979 matters. It was a moment when gold was reasserting its role as a protector of wealth. Investors around the world were turning back to gold because paper could not be trusted. This coin was part of that movement. It was minted not to celebrate a moment, but to answer a need. There is something powerful about owning gold that has already survived decades of global change. This coin has seen economic cycles rise and fall. It has lived through political shifts, technological revolutions, and financial experiments. And through it all, it remained what it always was, 1 ounce of gold. That is the beauty of it. No updates required, no maintenance, no dependency, just value. For collectors, this coin holds a special place. Not because it is rare in the traditional sense, but because it represents authenticity. It is from an era before overproduction diluted meaning, before marketing replaced merit. Holding this coin is like shaking hands with history. For investors, it offers something even deeper: trust. Gold from this period carries credibility. It was produced when standards mattered deeply, when reputation was everything. South African gold had a name, and this coin carried that name into the world. The weight of the coin is reassuring. 1 ounce may not sound like much until you feel it. Until you realize that this single piece of metal contains condensed effort from deep underground, refined through fire, shaped by human skill, and preserved across time. This is not a coin you flip casually. It is a coin you respect. You store it carefully. You show it selectively. It is not about showing off. It is about knowing what you have. Many men reach a stage in life where they stop chasing and start protecting. They stop looking for excitement and start valuing certainty. This coin speaks directly to that mindset. It does not promise overnight gains. It promises endurance that it is also a legacy piece, something that can be passed down with a story. You can tell your son or grandson that this coin comes from a time when gold meant safety, that you chose something real, something lasting, that you understood value beyond numbers. There is also pride in ownership, not loud pride, but quiet confidence. Knowing that regardless of what happens in markets, politics, or technology, this coin remains valuable. It does not rely on trust in others. It relies on gold itself. Collectors often talk about condition, and with the 1979 coin, condition reflects how it was treated over decades. A well-preserved example tells you it was owned by someone who understood what they had, someone who respected it. The surface of the coin reflects light differently than modern pieces. There is a warmth to older gold, a character that comes only with time. It feels seasoned, experienced, proven. This coin is also a reminder of independence. Gold ownership has always been about control. Control over your wealth, your future, your decisions. This coin represents that philosophy in physical form. Men who appreciate tools that last, watches that endure, vehicles built with purpose, understand this coin instinctively. It belongs in that category of things made right, not made fast. Even the simplicity of the coin adds to its power. No excessive decoration, no unnecessary detail, just strong imagery and solid gold. It does not try to impress, it simply exists with authority. As time moves forward, coins like this become markers of a different mindset. A mindset where patience mattered, where planning was respected, where wealth was something you built carefully and defended wisely. Owning a 1979 South Africa 1-ounce gold coin is not about nostalgia. It is about alignment with principles that never go out of style: strength, stability, independence, legacy. This coin has survived over 4 decades without losing its purpose. That alone should command respect. It has outlived countless financial products, trends, and promises. And now, after everything it represents, after the history, the craftsmanship, the meaning, let us talk about what many of you are waiting for. The current value of the 1979 South Africa 1-ounce gold coin is $86,000. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another story about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the forgotten pieces of history that could be sitting right under your nose. Now let's dive into something special today, a coin that many people have held in their hands without realizing just how much mystery and meaning is packed into a single small disc of metal. Today, we are talking about a piece from South Africa, a 1 rand coin minted in the year 2015. At first glance, it may seem like just another everyday coin, a piece of change that might rattle around in a pocket or lie forgotten in a drawer. But as you already know, age, rarity, design, circulation patterns, and historical context can transform even the most ordinary-looking coin into something far more interesting. And this particular coin has a story that deserves to be told. Imagine for a moment holding the coin between your fingers. It is light, but with a solid presence. The metal has a quiet confidence, a sense that it was created not simply to be spent, but to represent something bigger. The 1 rand coin has always carried South Africa's identity proudly, but the 2015 version comes from a period when the nation was going through dynamic economic and cultural changes. Each coin minted in that year is a silent witness to that moment in time. One of the first things collectors look for is condition. Coins that were kept safe, avoided scratches and dents, and escaped the wear of pockets and purses often command the highest attention. But beyond condition, another factor matters even more to seasoned collectors: the story. A coin with a story, a deeper context, becomes more than metal. It becomes a piece of memory, a token of a place and time that can never be perfectly recreated. The 1 Rand 2015 coin carries that charm. It represents modern South African craftsmanship, produced with advanced minting techniques that give it clean edges and crisp imagery. While the design may not be ancient or medieval, it has the simplicity and strength that collectors of all ages appreciate. There's something about a coin from the last decade that makes people pause. It feels familiar, yet the world around it has already changed so much. It stands as a reminder of how time moves faster than we think. Look closer and you'll notice how the design blends national pride with practical minting. On one side, the portrait of the springbok antelope stands firm, symbolizing resilience and natural beauty. On the other side, the coat of arms reflects unity and heritage. All of these elements combine into a coin that is not just currency, but a crafted symbol of South Africa's identity. Men in the age range of 55 to 65 often remember a time when coins were more than loose change. Coins were keepsakes. They were traded, collected, examined under the light, and sometimes kept for decades because they felt meaningful. And that's what makes this South African piece appealing. It bridges old and new. It has the character collectors appreciate while still being recent enough to feel like a discovery from our modern world. Many collectors in this age group also appreciate coins that represent countries with interesting histories or diverse cultural backgrounds. South Africa fits that perfectly. It is a nation known for its powerful stories of transformation and diversity, and its coins reflect that layered past. Holding a 1 Rand piece from 2015 is like holding a chapter of that journey, one that speaks quietly but clearly. Another aspect that draws attention is availability. Some coins enter circulation widely, while others don't. And over time, even widely circulated coins become harder to find in pristine condition. The 2015 1 Rand coin fits this category. It was circulated, used, exchanged thousands of times. That means finding a clean, sharp example today takes effort. And collectors respect effort. They appreciate the hunt. They value the thrill of finding something that others overlooked. A coin like this also reminds us of how value changes over time. What once purchased a small item in a store can now bring admiration, curiosity, conversation, and sometimes, if the market favors it, monetary reward. But the real worth for many is not the price tag. It's the feeling of finding something worth saving, something that connects the present to the past. The coin's weight, its sound when tapped lightly against the table, the way the light travels across its surface, the slight warmth when held in hand. All of this contributes to the quiet pleasure collectors feel. And for many men in the older generations, who grew up appreciating craftsmanship and tangible objects, this pleasure is real, grounding, meaningful. Even though the coin is only a decade old, collectors know that time moves quickly in the world of numismatics. What feels recent today becomes sought after tomorrow. What feels common now becomes scarce later. And what feels ordinary to most people becomes extraordinary to the collector who recognized its worth early. That is why this 1 Rand piece from 2015 has earned attention in recent years. Not because it is ancient, not because it is made of precious metal, but because it represents a moment, a place, and a story that resonates with those who love the preservation of history. If you have one of these coins tucked away somewhere, perhaps in an old jar, an unused wallet, or a forgotten box of travel souvenirs, it may be worth taking another look. Coins have a way of surprising us. They appear simple, but they can hold incredible memories, significance, and yes, even value. So as we wrap up today's journey, remember that collecting is not only about profit. It is about passion. It is about the excitement of discovery, the appreciation of history, and the simple joy of holding something that has traveled farther than most people realize. The 1 Rand coin from 2015 is one such treasure. But of course, you've been waiting for the number. If you manage to find the right collector, in the right condition, with the right rarity, this coin's value has reached an impressive figure. The highest noted price for a premium example of this 1 Rand 2015 coin is $88,552.